We and our kids are bombarded by media all the time. And how do we put a healthy container around it? I turned to Laura Kastner, an adolescent psychologist and author of many books, for her insights. She has some great strategies for how we can help youth handle their media intake. Here's Laura.
How do we get teenagers to think about their own consumption and maybe be concerned that if they're doing too much social media, they're not getting some of the skills that will make them very successful in life? Learning to have conversations, handle power, be a leader, be a follower, use other people's ideas in your project, be pleasant so people want to work with you on a project. It just makes sense that they would want these skills in the real world as well as skills in the media world. One of the ways I do it is talk to teenagers about what they want to be, cool or be a winner. And anytime you're talking about power and being a winner in the world of the future, they're listening up. So I tend to do it in a direction of, don't you want this good stuff, instead of, you better beware of the bad stuff. Whenever you start to preach to a kid about bad stuff, especially about social media, and they know more than we do, they just turn off. But if you start to talk about what we know about, which is success in the college world, or in the get the research study internship, or get the job, and what they need at Google, they listen up. And we know more about that than they do in terms of interpersonal world stuff. So I find that works better than the preaching. Starting at about age 8, developmentally, and this goes back to research from the last 50, 60, 70 years, there's what we call a dethroning of the parent. What happens is the child compares the parent as the real to the ideal and sees how we come up short. We're often inconsistent, we're often hypocritical, we often don't know everything, and as they figure out that we don't know everything, it allows them to be bigger as we become smaller. So there really is a method to the madness, and this really becomes acute at about age 12 or 13, because they develop more cognitive skills to be able to see the fine tuning of how we come up with a lot of lapses compared to the ideal. And there really is a function of this, because as they enter into the big world and realize how puny and vulnerable they are, to see us as lesser, I always call it the big oak tree. They cut down our limbs and then they get more sun so they can sort of, get more photosynthesis and bigger themselves. And so this happens across the board in life functions and qualities that we may or may not have. And so when we come off like we know the dangers of social media and they don't, it's just one more area that we don't know what we're talking about. And that helps them feel enhanced. And it makes parents endlessly frustrating, because we do know more than they do in certain ways. The problem is, I always start with my little slogan, we might be right, but are we effective? And sometimes if we watch the child's face, we know they're not listening. And so what, we're right. If it's not working, stop and try a different approach.
Thank you for watching this video. We publish new videos every week, so if you enjoy this sort of content, please like and subscribe to the channel.